Welcome to Shiny Tech Things, where we tech things seriously. And on today's show, I'm going to be comparing the Lumina 4K AI webcam running on Windows with a mirrorless camera. Now, the lighting setup is I have a ring light up top here. I have the Lumina actually taped to the lens on the other camera. Now over here, I have my blinds that are mostly closed, but you can still see some outside light coming in on me, notably here. And this video will hopefully make it a little bit more clear as to what kind of video quality you can expect to get out of the Lumina webcam. Now this morning I did go ahead and update the firmware on the webcam, which did make a noticeable difference to the image quality. Towards the end of the video, I will go ahead and reveal what it looked like on one of the last firmware updates. But what was interesting is that it only seemed to look that way on PC running Windows, and it looked way better on Mac. Now please keep in mind that the Lumina webcam is still in beta, meaning that it is still not completely ready for public release. What that also means is that once it is out of beta, you should expect it to be pretty good quality out of the box. Now in some of my other videos, there have been some other viewers that they also just received the webcam as well, and I think that they had kind of unrealistic expectations as far as something that is being beta, and where their biggest complaint was the image quality wasn't as good as one of their older webcams. I feel there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, when you first get the webcam, you definitely need to make sure that you have the latest version of firmware installed on it, which I will create another video showing you how to be able to do that. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what kind of quality there is between a couple different cameras. Without changing anything to my lighting, you can see the image quality of this video, which is brighter and more exposed than the previous video feed. Now I couldn't match up the focal lengths exactly, and again, I'm just using a piece of packing tape on top of my lens to be able to mount the Lumina cam on top of the other camera. Now here I have a side-by-side feed. Do you know which one is which? Go ahead and comment in the comment section down below. Now, one thing that I am doing is that I am using an external mic for this entire recording so that the audio quality is the same for both cameras. Now, both cameras' resolutions are at 4K. So take a look at the background and tell me what you think. Next, I'm going to stand up and get closer to the camera so that you can see the texture of my shirt and the buttons as I get closer. Ready for me to tell you which is which? Comment down below before I go ahead and tell you. So the camera on the left is a Sony A6500 with a Sony 18-105 f4 lens on it, and the camera on the right is the Lumina. Because I am recording on PC right now, I cannot use the Lumina app to go ahead and enable the background blur because it is incompatible with my hardware at this time. And just to show you what that looks like, I'll go ahead and switch that over here in just a sec. So right now you can see the blur is on, but there's also some like flickering and stuff that's happening. I'll go ahead and turn that off. Now one cool thing that I can do with the Lumina is turn on the cameraman. How cool is that? I do like how it zooms a lot more smoother than the NVIDIA broadcast software. Although the NVIDIA broadcast software can be used with any camera, including the Lumina. This just seems a lot more smoother than what NVIDIA offers in their software. Now I'll go ahead and turn that off. So I have the Lumina webcam zoomed in to match the focal length of the 18mm on the Sony as close as I could. And the zoom setting is set to 8. Here is set to 7. Here is set to 6. Now we are at 5. Now we are at 4. Now we are at 3. Here is 2. Now here is 1. And this is at 0. This is zoomed all the way out. And this is how wide the 4K AI webcam from Lumina is. You can even see my microphone down here too. So I'm going to switch back to side by side. I will zoom back in. That's 7. And here's at 8. Now one thing I would like to see on the Lumina is to be able to do a decimal zoom. So instead of having between 1 to 9, have the ability to do like 1.75, 1.62, 7.43, stuff like that, to be able to really match it up really close. Now another thing that you might notice is that with the Lumina here on the right is how much brighter of an image it is. The thing is that the lens on it is going to be faster than the f4 that is on the Sony. And another reason why the Lumina is a bit brighter is because it has a f2.0 glass 5-element lens on it. So if I grab another webcam, you can see this is just like plastic material, not glass. But on the Lumina, it is actually glass. So the optical quality is going to be much greater. That's one of the reasons why, say, for example, if you have a smartphone that has like a 48 megapixel sensor on it, and you take a photo with it, and then you compare it to a mirrorless or DSLR camera that is like half the resolution, that the image quality can be still a lot sharper even with lower megapixels. Now, that being said, there's also a difference in the size of the sensor inside of the camera itself. So in a cell phone, it's going to be smaller than in a mirrorless or DSLR camera. Also with the Lumina, its sensor is going to be smaller than what is in a APS-C sensor camera as well. All right, so I want to go ahead and talk to you a little bit about sensor size. So if you were saying that, oh, well, say that the one on the left looks so much better than the one on the right, and that's going to be the more expensive camera, you're right, but let me show you why you can see the difference. Coming over to getlumina.com/comparison, the sensor on this unit is 24.84 millimeters squared. Now, if you compare that to the Logitech Brio, right up here, it only has a 7.68 millimeter squared sensor. Now, the larger the sensor, the better the sensitivity for low light. Now, if we go ahead and look and see what is the size of a APS-C sensor, we have 25.1 millimeters by 16.7 millimeters. So then the question then becomes, how do you find out what it is in millimeters squared? So coming over to this site here, we just type it into a calculator. It's 419.17 millimeters squared. Now, again, we're looking at 24.84 millimeters squared and comparing that to 419.17 millimeters squared. So the sensor itself in the camera inside of the Sony is actually quite a bit larger, while also being able to capture more low light information. So then the next question is why is that image darker? Well, that is because of the f-stop aperture of the lens, which it is a f4 lens, where the f2 lens on the Lumina is able to capture that much more light. So even though the sensor is smaller, the lens itself is faster, being able to create a brighter image with less light being available. Now, before I forget, this is the old firmware before I updated it, so you can see how grainy it is. Now let me know in the comment section down below if there's any other cameras or lenses that you want me to go ahead and do a side-by-side comparison on with. And I can make a dedicated video with just that particular configuration. The reason why I chose this configuration is because in some of Lumina's videos online, they were actually using this exact camera configuration to compare it against the Lumina itself. Now, as you can see, there is a difference in the image quality here. But again, this is still in beta status, so don't think that this is going to be as good as it's going to get, because it's really only going to get better as they release better software and continue to add more features and fix bugs. Now on the Mac, I have not set up both cameras at the same time as of yet. It's just a lot of work on my end to be able to rerun cables and get adapters and stuff to get everything working. But if you would like to see a video where I do a comparison shooting from the Mac, then go ahead and drop a comment in the comment section below, and also be sure to slap that like button. Now I have some other videos here on the Lumina as well. If you check out over here, I've got the very first unboxing video. Then over here, I have a video on the very first firmware release and software release on Windows. Over here, I'm not so proud about this video. It's very confusing. Make sure that you check check out the pinned comments. Here, I will go ahead and create a link to a video. Once you tell me what you would like to see next, I'll go ahead and post it there for you.